African Americans, right here, so-called Sunnis, we know what that means, and they don't. The Shias don't. It's not new. We've been giving lectures for decades, pointing out the way. Why? Because a gift that Allah gave us that we would tell them a lot of times, y'all doing it, was technically this is our revolution. We was saying that the revolution in Iran was technically ours because we be misfitting all the time and misfiring. So we needed you guys to do it. And then anyway, it's like a big joke, but let me tell you this. Those estimations were very close to accurate. Very close to accurate. Because for years, we have been very sensitive to all these things that are going on there. That's why we said there's stuff getting ready to happen. They don't know what it is, and Boss Man don't know what it is. And he don't know how it's all working. But when you saw Aga Soleimani, Qasem Soleimani, get assassinated on the 3rd of January last year, it all fell into place. Nobody knew it fell into place but us. Think about it. When you think about those things, when you remember those things, then you will remember who we are, where we are, and what part we're playing. It don't make no difference what they say. They playing some different part, but we know something about the part we're playing. And we know how this world is interacting with us. We understand what's going on, even if the people don't understand what's going on. Some of the people understand some parts of what they're doing, some parts of what they're playing, but they do not have the whole picture. Now, let me step back a minute. That's not saying that we got more sense than they do, that we got more this. Here's what it is. During every period of time, everyone is given some function and some mission within that period. And that's our period. We've earned this. Call it status. We've earned this blessing. You got to remember the things that are happening to us, around us, and about us are very important. They're important to the world, and they're important to us. Okay, but we're not going to pretend that we don't understand what we're doing. Sometimes we do. That's how we play with people sometimes. No, it's gotten to that certain thing. We're doing what we do, how we're doing, is because what Allah has given us. The things that have happened in and around and about us, if they happen to somebody else, they would have responded different because they have a different makeup, a different character. We have responded the way we responded to this historical period and this historical status that we have is because of what Allah have given us and the time that we have not just arrived, because remember, we've been here a while. When they talk about this Islamic revolution, we're one of the only groups in America that saw it right away and stuck with it all the way through. If you think I'm joking, go find the amount of people in America that stuck with it all the way through, and it was really with it, that they didn't do things that harmed the revolution. So I didn't know what I was doing. You know what I mean? We haven't did that. We haven't did nothing. No one has reminded us of anything that we have done that have had a negative influence on the revolution in Iran. Others have harmed it, and they play like, oh, I didn't know what I was doing. Oh, I did that. Oh, my goodness. Okay, we haven't did that. We had been studying about Islamic revival and all of that for years, back in the early 70s. When this revolution in Islamic Republic happened, some of us said, this is it. A lot of us said that, but only a few stuck with it. So what you have to imagine is As-Sabiqun going most of this way alone. So that's what Sabiqun do a lot. They go out ahead of everybody else, in front of everybody. Right? They win the race. They anticipate what's going on in the society. That's what they do. They anticipate Islam, and they anticipate what their role is in it, and they go out in front of everybody and they do their role. They don't wait for approval of nobody. So a lot of times you don't know what picture the other people are going to have of them as Muslims and non-Muslims. If you look at Yahood, one part of Yahood said that man is the devil, talking about me. That's they said, you can find it anywhere. Everything. Then they got quiet. They said, let's shut up because we're making him more popular. Well, that's what I would do. I would harass them and say stuff, and then they made me the most popular man for a period of time in the U.S. The Yahood, the big ones, Abe Foxman, AIPAC, Daniel Pipes, Steve Emerson, all of these, they were big boys a few years back. They are still big boys. There was one time we had them all on our case, and we was happy as we could be. More. Why? Because the more they focused on us, the more understanding the people got of who we was. Then they said, we better stop talking about that nigga. You know. Yeah. Psychological guerrilla warfare. It was 10 years ago. It was actually more than that. 10 years ago. And psychological guerrilla warfare, talk about them. Then in return, they talk about you. Why? We don't have the news facilities. We don't have nothing. Like the lectures that we put out, inshallah, they'll get around, hopefully. If not, we'll duplicate them and we'll get them out. Eventually, we'll have something to give to everybody for decades to come, these lectures. Pretty soon, we'll print As-Sabiqun, Al-Awwalun. We'll have them printed, the old ones. But we'll have the new ones that we're getting ready to do. Some of them will be written back because the written word. So we'll select many of these and we'll have them done perfectly, where we'll scratch out all of this and misspelling, and we'll have them rewritten. But we'll have professional people do that they make sense. You see what I mean? It grabs the people. And we got so many of them. We got so many of them that it'll be volumes of books and books. Volumes of them. Book after book after book. We got one set done, volume 1, 2, and 3, of the earlier As-Sabiqun from 2000, 2000, That's not 2005. It might be. 1,900. Well, like we have said 1995. Yeah, those are, when you read them, it sounds like somebody else wrote those boys. Well, we wrote better in those days, and then we had somebody. Well, we're going to do all of those things. Don't worry about it right now. We will have a facility soon to do all of those things. We'll have the facilities to hire as many people as we need. That's our first stage. The period where we get all of our literature written, collected, and the beginning of distribution of it. Really good quality literature. We'll put some of it into books like the writings of Imam so-and-so. And it might be a 500-page writing. And then you have volume 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We already have that. We just haven't did it yet. We got the ones from way back, from the 1990s, 1995 up to about 2010. Do you know that's 15 years of writing, high quality writing. Right now it's in 3 volumes. But we're going to have volumes and volumes. We'll have experts go through our literature and update it. Bring the English out perfect. Not rewriters, but people that enhance the writing. You know, we're going to do all of that. We're going to do all that, and it's not going to be any problem because we're going to sue the government for $100 million. And you buy $100 million. Well, we don't say if, but it's possible had we been left alone. That's not. From the 1980s up to now, had the proper circumstances been available, and if Allah will, we could have had, 100 Masjid full of people, everything. Easy. We're going to have more than that because writings transcend the spot where you're in. Writings transcend time, place, and circumstance. Just the writings that we have right now in our first volumes, when I read them now, the ones from the 90s, 2000s, it looked like somebody else wrote them. Okay, now, I want you to think about us here. How well do we forecast? Well, we forecasted all the things that are happening right now, we forecasted all of those. Everything that happened right now, we forecasted them. Okay, so therefore, we had special attention. Let's see what we got here. U.S. Department of State wishes to bring to the attention of the embassy that Mr. Clarence Reams, also known as Abdul Ali Musa, with my birthday, the United States government has information including that Mr. Reams is receiving payments, some funds from the, it's called the Embassy of Pakistan, but it's the Cultural Center, we call it the Daftar. It's the embassy intersection of the Islamic Republic of Iran here in the U.S. They have representation. Technically it's not an embassy, but that's what it works as. Okay, so the FBI stopped by here the same time they stopped by your house around there. They stopped by here And then they dropped off a couple of little press releases and a few more. And they was telling me the international conferences supporting the Islamic Revolutionary Guards, Intelligence Operation New Horizon, organization and associated individuals. These are people that, let's say, if we were involved in, they are now banned. And this is 2 years ago. They're banned from Donald Trump. Well, Donald Trump, they have malicious cyber campaign targeting U.S. personnel. And then they have the names of the people. The U.S. intelligence envoys and everybody